good evening. Wherever you are in the world, here is your host, Viola Edward, for your program, The Feminine Capital Rhythm at Radio Works World. Today, I am in south of France, in Mougins, in a place called Moussartou, and it's a very, very happy time for me because my youngest stepson got married, and my three stepsons are here, the four grandchildren, all the cousins, and the brothers and sister-in-law. So it's a very particular time in my life. Here we are at the house of my step son's mother's house. It's like how beautiful it is to be in family and to be sharing and to be helping and to be helping the new generation to go on with their life and observing how it's like the spring of life and all um, mixing together, and the cultural mix between all of us is so beautiful. So I'm in joy, in a lot of gratitude, and to share that, I asked Marina today to have this show together. But I'm very grateful to Marina. Of course, I'm a relational person, and one of my major capital, apart from the feminine capital, is the relational capital. But you see, we need also an infrastructure to be able to display our quality. I know I am very relational, but because of this radio program and because we can connect from different parts of the world, then this capacity to relate, it gets so much expanded. And then we can share with all of you around the world because Marina has this infrastructure. So, and some of us in different countries, we represent Radio W.O.R.K.S to be able to share with you. So in gratitude for that, I wanted today uh, to have a conversation with Marina online. So welcome, Marina, and thank you very much for this space.
Wow, Viola, I feel so blessed. I feel so blessed to be with you, to witness your journey. And God, what a journey! You've been at the same time when there were elections in North America, you were there. When there were, I think we were deciding something on Brexit in London, you're here. And now, yesterday, when the new elect president was taking power and
I
counting
mean,
the votes, basically, you were in France. So you are in
yes,
France now.
France.
So you are sharing with us not only your private time, quality time you have, and the connections you are making along the way, but you are sharing with us historic times. So what's happening in France right now? I know you are in a very exclusive remote location in south of France, but what is the feel? How people feel about what's happening? All the changes coming all at once.
Yeah, yeah. Well, what I perceive is that I perceive that people are voting, and I'm not political, and I know about psychology and sometimes the psychology of politics, but what I can feel is that in these different countries, how is it sometimes it's the joy of the people, sometimes of the fear of the people. I think one of those books that we have to write is about this, isn't it? Like how extraordinary that I've been in less than 1 year, I think, in these three different major decision that was taken in the US and now here. I think it's a journey. I mean, I live in Cyprus, which we have our own journey. And as you know, I'm from Venezuela, that people are on the street in demonstration and asking for change. So it's like I feel like uh, my heart is stirred in different direction. At the same time, observing and respecting, and sometimes it's beyond my understanding what's happening in some countries and how it's so difficult to change. But also as a psychotherapist, I understand that for one person, sometimes it's so difficult to change. So many things has to happen so a person can change an attitude. So I can understand how a country or a population, it take like one generation or two, sometime or three, to be able to change. So it's very interesting time. In some countries, it's a painful time. But just observing and feeling and trying to live every day by the day and be very thankful for all what we have.
Wow, Viola, I'm thinking you yourself, you hold almost like you yourself, you are a treasure of wisdom, and you experience so much throughout your life, and you learn the layers of life, how they could work against you, or they could take you to a better place, or they could hold you back. And I'm only thinking, I'm just noticing that you've been in all these major places where major changes were taking place, and I'm thinking, what is happening in people's mind when they have to accept somebody else's choices. I know personally I lead my own life, regardless what's happening, regardless what other people are creating around me. I still have a duty to deliver my own choices, to create my own reality. And I think goes for everyone, for each one of our listeners, regardless of your race, gender, faith, ethnicity, or political orientation, or even culture orientation or trends, you could make it better. What it takes for a person to go into a place in their own mind when they understand they have to take responsibility for their own stardust, how I call it. I believe you
Yeah.
are stardust, I am stardust. Each one of our listeners is coming from stardust. And if you ask me where I'm going to share my own stardust, regardless the circumstances. On a horseback is necessary. But what it takes for a person to feel they could lead their own life.
Um, we cannot generalize it because it take some people, it's a moment of awareness. Some other people, they need different moment of like layers of awareness. Yeah. Some people is the pain of the lost. Some people is the gratitude of the miracle, you know. So what I see through my life, since I was a child, I'm very interested in psychology, but professionally I'm in the field since 1993 intensely. um, it's like many times I feel, if the person continue, because sometimes we say, how it's possible, he can't see it or she can't see it, and I say, if they continue in their journey, they will, because it's like that part of us, it's gonna be put in soak, and sooner or later it's gonna surrender, it's going to happen. I think it will not happen when people abandon the journey and go like far away from it. But if they try this methodology and didn't work, and they try another methodology and didn't work, and they try another one and didn't work, in some moment it's going to work, or partially it's going to work, or sometimes it's one of their children or one of their grandchildren or a worker or somebody in the journey, a companion in the path. So we never know when. As Marina is very interesting also, we don't know when the person crack, and we don't know when the person return, because sometime when we follow the history of somebody who had crack and enter into addiction, or enter into a highly neurotic behavior, or those people who had kind of crash and had a sprout, psychotic sprout, sometime when we enter into their psychological history, maybe they have 8 episodes, or maybe they had 5 events very strong in their life, and maybe the number 6, which was not very strong, and that's the one who crack them, so, or break them. Yeah. In the same way, in returning home, how I call it, to the essential part of us, returning to the healthy part of ourselves. You sometimes, is a book, you're reading a book, for those, for that book's important, or books who were turned into theater or cinema. Sometimes it's like a message from a film and it gets you there and you understand that you have heard it so many times. But today, that person was ready to understand what does it mean, and maybe they will do that telephone call, or they do that trip, or they do their bucket list, or whatever that will return them to some part of the self-contentment and gratitude and forgiveness and all the things that we need to go through, to be able to live every day as a present, and continue our journey serving the others, and also setting the boundaries, and especially healing a lot of our own victimacy, because we have suffered. As you know, as children, we didn't know how to put boundaries. We didn't know many times to understand the event that happened to us. And sometimes we carry those heavy loads and we grow up physically, but many of us, we don't grow up emotionally in the same level. And it took take us long time to learn how to say no firmly, sweetly, how to say yes with determination. And I think when we learn that from a place of core values and integrity, and also we help others to do so, we help others in the process to heal what they've been carrying, that loads that make them be uh, victimized or abuser. That's a huge part of the beautiful journey for each one of us. Maybe the one like me who we are doing it professionally, but every person have responsibility in a way, all mothers, all parents. Many time, if you have one employee that you treat him or her properly, with integrity, with clarity of boundaries, also you're doing the job. We can do the job everywhere we are, in a way, without pretending, without preaching, and without pretending to be teacher, but by walking the talks, we are already helping many others in our.
So coming back to what just happened yesterday, when people put their hope in one person, in their own leader, and thinking that you could be your own leader, you could lead your life to a better future, you could lead your life to a place where you are happy with who you are, what you represent, how you manage your time, how you manage your values, how you manage your assets. I think it's a great beginning to establish um, that balance the right way, the balance between cause and effect, because most of the time there is a tendency that people are blaming somebody else for what's happening in their life. And I guess I'm not the only one who discovered this, but every single decision you are making, doesn't matter how afraid you are of making a decision, take the next step. A decision is going to be made by you or somebody else. So, in saying that, what do you think is, how do you think you could reach that balance between cause and effect in your life? What can you do? What could our listeners do right now to put the balance right, to start putting the wrong right, to look at what is in for them and see, is there enough to support their life purpose, or they are living or leading towards somebody else's life purpose? What they could
Yeah,
do.
yeah. There is in breathwork reverting a terminology which is very proper for to answer your question, and we call it the personal law. The personal law actually started as a lie. For example, when we were growing, and in some moment of our life, when we start doubting about ourselves, when something happened or we perceive it from the adults, and we start saying, I'm not good enough, I'm not knowledgeable enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not wealthy enough, I'm not nice enough, I'm not intelligent enough, i'm not um, I'm not whatever is denying what is, because we are more than good enough. aren't we? But let's imagine that that get installed in us, yeah? Let's imagine I start saying I'm not knowledgeable enough, yeah? So I enter into the fear that I love knowledge and the other will understand that I'm not knowledgeable enough. And this is a lie that built up in my story in some moment because a teacher told me something, because I interrupted school, because for some reason, yeah? It was a lie, but that lie, I repeated it so much that become a law. And usually we do follow the law. Those are internal law. And then that law get installed on me, and then I think I'm not good enough, I'm not knowledgeable enough, and I build my life around that. So I go into life and I have experiences, and many experiences is telling me, you see, I told you. Or I create people in my life who will tell me and remind me of what I think about myself. You follow me? So it is very, very important, and this is a subject we're going to work together, Marina. We still don't have the date, but it's going to be in July when we're going to come together and do a whole uh, workshop and about who makes the news. And I'm going to be working for a couple of hours about this subject, about first of all how we can discover what is our personal law. Yeah, because the fact that there is many people that think they are not good enough, but what is it that I think I'm not good enough in? Yeah. And then when we discover what is our personal law, then how we break it and how we build what is the real truth of the self. But each one of us is different, because maybe if my subject is about knowledge, maybe it's not for you. Maybe your subject about trust of life, or the other person's subject is about uh, men don't love me or women don't love me or I cannot have it all. So each one of us has an issue, the major issue. And in our work, in my work, I help them to understand what is it, the major issue. And there is a whole quest about it. And we break it down to one or two questions. And from there, we start transforming it. And in the process of transforming it, about the transformation, we see and we observe what is the limited mind is telling us. Yeah. And that what we're gonna catch every session, every time. It takes some days or some weeks, but it's a very beautiful process of self-discovery and self-help. So that's one way. The other way is also we're going to work it that day. Hopefully, we'll have time to do these two things. It's about to catch up what are my major qualities, and see how I've been using my qualities in my favor and to give the service, or I've been using my quality in against me, in opposition to me. For example, I always say to my clients, you see, I am a lecturer, I am a teacher, I am a psychotherapist. My quality is very similar to that people who gossip. For example, I observe, I analyze, I study, I synthesize, and I have an opinion. That woman who gossip does the same thing. She analyze, she synthesize, and she give an opinion. Is an opinion to damage, and very limited opinion, a sharp opinion about somebody without analyzing very well, but she has the capacity to observe, to communicate, to analyze. Now, the way how both of us we are putting that quality is in a different way, and it will bring a different result in our life. Yeah. For example, a person who's very dispersed, and they postpone and they start think and they don't finish and they do many things at the time, actually is a beautiful quality. They have the quality of they are versatile. They can do more than one thing at the time. Yeah. A person who is very stubborn, they are very perseverant people, but it's just when they put the fear with the perseverance, it becomes stubbornness. And we go on and on. So the idea is, when we catch through the personal law where is our major fear, Also, we can see how we've been putting that fear, mixing it with our major qualities, and producing something that is working against us.
Wow.
That makes sense?
Yes, yes. Actually, I follow your discovery journey since I met you, and I know you believe in the feminine capital. And I know that unlike most people who think men are not needed anymore, we have the women now, they could take over. I know you are basically educating women to be women and feel empowered and join forces with the male energy, with the men who are out there already making big differences in a world that is wonderful and needs a feminine touch. So I know also that you are putting together a massive event in Cyprus this month, actually. I know you are in
Yeah.
France, it's a bit confusing, but you reside in Cyprus and now that's your home. So you are bringing together brilliant minds, agents of brilliancy from all around the world to help you help other women to feel empowered and make a difference in the world. Tell us more about your upcoming event in Cyprus, please.
Yes, yes, it's the first Feminine Capital Forum happening in Cyprus.
So it's
This,
called the Feminine Capital Forum, yes?
yeah, yes,
What what
and
is
this
what is the main objective of this manifestation of this great event?
together, better together. This is the major, uh, this is our slogan, better together. So it's about working with women who have many things in life, who have achieved many things, but still they have one restraint or two because of these personal laws that they have, and they think they cannot have it all, or they cannot. If I have a wonderful job, I cannot have wonderful relationship, or vice versa. It's about to be in the consciousness of completeness instead of being in the in the idea of missing or not completing or struggle. There is three major um, collective pain in the world, and this is the guilt, how guilty we feel when we do things or when we have things, how we create struggle in our life or enter in relationship of struggle, and how later we feel victimized and we feel like um, the missing part of our life. And then we go back into the cycle of being victimized and being struggle and being victim. So the idea is to work with empowered women. When I talk about empowered women, I don't mean only the CEO of a company. I mean all women are empowered in one way or another. How to support them, help them to come into the consciousness of breaking this cycle of guilt, struggle, and victimacy, and go into the innocence and the pleasure and the feeling of completeness in life. Even if I still don't have it all, I'm on the way to have it. Yeah. As I share with you many times, I'm a woman who didn't have my own children for many reasons. But actually, imagine, look at now, I have four grandchildren. I have three loving stepsons. So life can, uh, when you surrender and when you enter into the consciousness of being complete and having it all, even when you don't have it, you have it. Because I have four grandchildren. I am a granny, even when I didn't have my children, my own children. Isn't that wonderful? And that is part of the consciousness. I don't mean that all of us we have to have grandchildren, but whatever it is in our journey, it can make us feel. It's about getting out of the limit uh, mind and enter into the consciousness of completeness. So this forum is a lot of that oriented to women in her business, in her journey, in her relationships. And for those men who already are in the consciousness of why, it's very important that we are working and living as peers. When I say we are peers and we have the same rights, I don't mean that I have to go to the forest and cut the wood and bring it to home for my chimney, or he has to do things that particularly I do. It means that in respect and in agreement, we are peers and we have the same rights, even when we choose to do it in a different. So it's for men and women, and the slogan is that better together, at the same level. So many women and men from different areas of the world are coming to give talk and to be in panels about how is it women in politics, how is the why is important the psychotherapy and the coaching, how's the timing for women in business, how is it that we can learn women, men all together in families, in work, what does it mean the non-violent communication, what is the tools for non-violent communication, because it's not only between men and women, it's between men, how to break that, uh, uh, how to break that cycle when many men are upset, are sad, they cannot show it and they show it in anger or they show it in silence. And how is it that many women are the same, but sometimes, but we can learn how to show our vulnerability, how to show our sadness, and not to have to go to war for that. Yes. So it's a lot of there is different talk about the history of how women have arrived to where we are, and how is it that there is certain country that still they don't have all the rights, or they are not paid in the same way as men are paid. So what's needed for that, how there is so many organizations in the world helping to get that level, because when we get that leveled, society and family also is going to be in another level, because it's about justice and it's about what is right. And what else I can tell you? So there is a group of people from different country and also from Cyprus, North, and from the Republic of Cyprus, meaning Greek Cypriot and Turkish Cypriot, from different business and politics and psychotherapy, that also we are coming together to share, from South America, from US, and it's a very intensive day, starting at 9, finishing between 6 and 7, with music and with raffles and with some contests. And the idea is this forum, in the way how I'm doing it in Cyprus, I'm going to be moving it to different cities and to different countries through the year. So we're going to have the Feminine Capital Forum in different areas. And the idea is to do this network between the speakers, panelists, and move. And every time we go to a different city, attract people from that city. And hopefully we'll do it in different languages. Let's see where it will take us.
Wow, this is so exciting. So it is about the Feminine Capital Forum is about unlocking the power of women entrepreneurs. And everybody knows that around the world there are just under 300 million women business owners. And many people could have an idea of how they could monetize the something they created, and they don't find the support they need to promote their product, to promote themselves. And you put together a great team of teachers, speakers, authors, thinkers, even people who are involved in politics, and they're all typing into this feminine capital and polishing the unique skills and unique sensibilities women already have, but perhaps they never been cultivating themselves to create massive success. Yesterday, Sunday Times magazine published the Rich List 2017, and believe it or not, it's it's a new dimension to being rich, to feeling rich, and a lot of women from different ethnicity from around the world are coming to London, because London is the city that never sleeps. London is the city where you could bring something valuable. You could add your own stardust to what is already happening. and complete that space, that economic driving force that is already moving and is moving fast. So, what are your plans for coming to London?
Yes, well, you have invited me kindly, and I have accepted, and we have a plan together in July. We just have to find the date. So we have these in the nearest. We're coming in June. I'm gonna be in Cyprus because I'm doing a very intensive breathwork coaching training, the first one in Cyprus. And then July, I'm coming with you to London, and also I have another thing in Greece. And in August, have this. I'm a key speaker in the global inspirational conference, which is 8 days conference for breath worker in different way of using the breath work in life, in therapy, in exercise, in many ways, in education. And I'm talking about the feminine capital rhythm there. And then we have Peru and Dominican Republic, Lima and Miami and Austin and Amsterdam in November. And hopefully for London, we have this one in July, and hopefully we have two more this year. So there's a lot of me in London. Huh? We are just you and me organizing. And also I have another event for the Latino um, community in UK, and we are organizing something for them too. So soon, hopefully next week, we have the dates and we can start working on it. I
Wow,
love London,
it's
and
also
now
also exciting. So, what is your key
yes,
message for our listeners today?
be thankful, be eh, eh, be in connection with your core values, review them, and see how much you're walking the talk, because it is very easy to say I have this value or that value, but when life exposes us, we can see how it's possible or not possible to walk the talk. And I would say if I could not walk the talk, I'm not going to talk about it. So I wish you all a very nice May, and be in connection and be in service. Whoever you can help every day, do in your own way, in your own stage, not to give what you don't have is part of what you have. Be a little bit of time, or be a little bit plate of food, or be a little bit of kindness, or be a little bit of whatever you can. Just help, and be as content as you can be. And if there is area in life, in your life, that's still restrained or locked, I understand sometimes it's difficult just to unlock it. Ask for help. We are in a privileged time now. There is help all over in different ways. Just look for the way and for the person and the methodology that suit you. And if you couldn't find it the first time, do it the second, the third, the fourth, until you find where and how. Ask for help and unlock whatever is still locked, and to be able to go to that inner and contentment, and being able later to model it and to walk the talk. So all the best, and that was a lovely conversation. Thank you, Marina, as usual. And wherever you are in the world, remember to tune with Radio Works World. And this is your host, Viola Edward, in the Feminine Capital Forum today, talking with Marina Nani, who's the creator of Radio Works World. Thank you, Marina.
Thank you so much, Viola. From both of us, until next time, remember who you are. Goodbye.